Tariffs are increasing your prices. Why? You know, I've been talking about tariffs for quite some time now. I've even questioned members of the administration about tariffs.
There's no plan. All we know is prices are going up. We're pissing off our allies. The tariffs and the reduction of the workforce happening from some of the deportations that are happening are all going to be inflationary. And we see prices are not going down, they're going up because of the tariffs.
The tariff battle is causing additional increases in some of the supply chain costs.
There's no plan right now. As we saw, there's been devastation from this unilateral action by the president where he treats our allies and our strategic adversaries the same.
We can't let the other distractions taking place in the world and in our country these days take affordability off the front page.
So what are tariffs? Tariffs are a tool whereby we say that if you're going to sell something from another country into the United States of America, we're going to charge you a fee to have access to the U.S. market. Well, in some cases, that is a good idea, especially when we're trying to battle a strategic adversary like the Chinese Communist Party. It's a good idea when there's an industry that we must do here in the United States of America for the purposes of our national security or our economic security, and we want to protect that industry here in the United States of America because it's strategically important. There are three big problems with this administration's policies regarding tariffs that are increasing everyone's prices here in our country. Number one is we're treating our allies, our friends, the same as we're treating our strategic adversaries. Why would we treat Europe or Canada or Japan or South Korea or Australia, who are our allies, that share our sense of freedom and democracy and human rights and the rule of law and free markets? Why would we treat them the same as we're treating the Chinese Communist Party or the way we're treating other adversaries throughout the world? There has to be a distinction between the two. Secondly, there's been no plan. It's kind of been a tweet here, a tweet there, a Truth Social here, a Truth Social there. They're changing the policy day to day. And as a result, it's causing instability. And that instability is hurting businesses here in the United States of America who aren't sure where to invest. One of the most important things that businesses care about is predictability, so they know where and how much to invest.
Have you ever heard the expression that businesses crave predictability?
Sure, we've heard about that.
People that have purchased goods from another country, and while it was on the ship coming to the United States of America, this administration changed the tariff policy. So they got hit with a bill for $100,000 or $500,000 or $1 million that they didn't expect when they first purchased those goods. So that instability is causing a major problem here in our country. And number three, I'm concerned that we're tariffing things not to protect a strategic industry that's important to America, not to try and combat an adversary of ours, but we're just taxing or putting tariffs on, which is like a tax, goods that we would never produce here in America. We don't grow coffee beans in America. Why would we put tariff on coffee beans? We don't grow bananas in America. Why would we put tariffs on bananas? Tariffs can make sense when protecting certain industries. Tariffs can make sense when going after strategic adversaries. But tariffing broadly across all goods, hurting our allies in the process, and increasing prices for the American people does not make sense. On two separate occasions, while I was on the Ways and Means Committee, I questioned the American trade representative. He's actually an ambassador. His name is Jameson Greer. The first time I was questioning him, over a year ago, he was sitting there in the hearing room testifying before our panel, and it came to my time of questioning, and while he was there, they changed the tariff policy as he was sitting right there. It was really just kind of weird.
Do you think the USMCA was a good deal for America?
I think it was. There was a lot more we could have done and should have done.
So why did the president come out after this year and say it was one of the worst deals we ever negotiated in the history of the country?
It was shot
Well, you
up.
think it was a good deal, but he thinks it was a terrible deal. I mean, I feel like you're in a very bad position here. This whole idea that this president made this switcheroo on you while you were in the middle of testifying here today. I actually feel bad for you.
No,
but I really feel bad for the American people that are seeing these things happen. There's no plan.
A second time I questioned him, I was asking him to admit the fact that tariffs, in fact, cost you money, and he wouldn't admit it.
Are tariffs increasing prices for the American consumer?
So I'm going to say no. I do disagree with that. I do disagree. I will say that for some things, that is true.
They refuse to admit that tariffs are increasing prices. But every expert, every economist, every newspaper, every think tank is exposing the fact that tariffs are increasing your prices.
This will result in higher prices for American consumers, and that means a slower economy.
It's not only going to raise inflation and the cost of living, it's going to reduce the amount of jobs and the strength of the economy. So it's just a lose-lose for everybody.
The rollout of this policy, if there is a policy, has been absolutely chaotic. There is going to be slower growth, more unemployment, and higher prices worldwide.
Economists across the spectrum, conservative, liberal, everyone in between, agrees will only serve to raise prices and hurt the economy.
It means higher inflation for U.S. consumers. It's a tax on American consumers.
Tariffs themselves will damage the economy, both the United States economy and the economies of the targets of those tariffs, whether it's Canada, Mexico, Europe, or any place else. But the sheer confusion about what's going on is having a very damaging effect on the U.S. economy, depressing investment and undermining consumer confidence.
And so there's just no two ways around this. This is an increase in prices that will ultimately hurt the economy.
This is the United States completely untethered. This is the United States going rogue.
The chaos is the point, right?
Even Republicans are questioning whether tariff policy is good or bad for America under the way this administration is implementing it.
The vast majority of companies in my district, through Cuyahoga, Medina, Wayne, and Holmes, this tariff policy, it isn't working for them. And it is not a net positive, it is a net negative. And right now, these policies are doing more harm than good. But my biggest concern is that we have a lot of people who don't have answers with a lot of questions.
Right now, the number one issue for most Americans is the cost of goods, affordability, how much it costs to live your life. But tariffs, a voluntary decision by this administration to increase prices on imported goods, are increasing the prices of the things that you buy at the grocery store. They're increasing the goods that are purchased by businesses. They're increasing the cost of everyday items in the United States of America. We need a plan. We need the President of the United States of America to come to Congress, where it says in the United States Constitution that the committee I'm on, Ways and Means, we're responsible for setting tariff policy in America. Come to us, work with us, help us develop a comprehensive plan, the right way to do tariffs, and not this irresponsible way that are just jacking up your prices.